So joining us now is House Majority Leader Steve Scalise. Leader Scalise, it's very good to have you with us today. And, obviously, I'm sure that this brings back a lot of memories for you. You have been in this situation where you suddenly hear this chilling pop, pop, pop. And in your case, you were hit in a way that almost took your life. So when you look at what we're talking about here and we wait for this news conference and you've had a couple hours for some of this to sink in, what are you thinking now?
Yeah, well, a lot of those memories come back. When you hear the video, the audio, especially with the pop, 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 it was very similar. The first one or two shots, you're not thinking it's a gunfoot shot. But then by the third one, and beyond, it's clear what's going on. I was hit early off and went down. In the case of President Trump, you could tell when he was hit, he went down to kind of, I think, avoid what was coming. And fortunately, as you pointed out, just that one difference, maybe the turn of the head, made all the difference in the world. And thank God that he's still alive and okay, but it easily could have gone the other way. This is one of those days where, God was on the ball field with me. I think God was there with President Trump. Sadly, there were, other injuries, casualty of civilians that were watching the rally. But, this was an assassination attempt. Clearly, we're going to have a lot of questions. I mean, we're going to have hearings on this. How could you have somebody get on the rooftop? There's reports that people watched him climb up the roof and even alerted authorities, and we're going to be looking into that. How could that happen with all the authorities around, that they missed something so clear that the shooter was able to get that kind of line of sight just 150 yards away from the stage?
Yeah, Leader Scalise, it's Trace Gallagher. Thank you for coming on, sir. We very much appreciate this. I'm just wondering, as you look at this and you understand the FBI and the local police are about to hold a news conference any moment now. We're, of course, going to take that live. You went through this, as Martha was saying. I'm wondering what you're listening for in this news conference, what you think might have prompted this behavior. It happened to you. It's happened again. What are you listening for from the authorities that will give us some indication of what prompted this person to do this?
Well, I want to hear how seriously they're taking this threat. In the case of the shooting on the baseball field, they initially called it suicide by cop. The FBI categorized it that way, and the shooter's intent was to kill every one of us on that ball field, and yet they called it suicide by cop, which offended all of us who were there. I mean, they weren't just trying to kill me. The shooter was trying to kill every Republican on that ball field, and we felt it wasn't taken seriously the way it should have been. In this case, I want to see a very stern and serious focus on finding out, were there other people involved in the planning of this? Are there other people still out there that are planning future attacks? Was it a lone gunman? What were his motivations? How was he obviously able to get access to that rooftop? But I want to see a very serious focus on recognizing that this was an assassination attempt on a leading candidate for president of the United States, and it should be taken that seriously, and beefed up security needs to follow from this point forward.
Yeah, it is such a stunning situation, Speaker Scalise. When you look at this, Leader Scalise, and you think about the potential for what might have happened here, and I brought this up earlier, but we've been going through a very chaotic period in this election, and over the past few weeks, the discussion has been centered on President Biden and his ability to do the job, and that has been such a really a story that has had so much gravity across the country. And now you look at this, what would you say to the American people tonight when they feel this sense of chaos that I think really hasn't been felt in this country for decades?
Yeah, I think, look, everybody, it's a hypercharged environment, but everybody realizes what's at stake. And, President Trump, I thought the way that he left, showing strength, raising his hand and clenching his fist and, letting the crowd know he was okay, but also letting everybody else know I'm okay, to calm things, because, the last thing we need is that kind of chaos where potentially the leading candidate for president is not able to follow through. He made it clear he's going to be fine, but he wanted everybody else to know that too. But But it just reminds us all, I mean, this is of such a volatile democracy that we live in. And our founding fathers 240 years ago knew that it's always going to be up to us to preserve that for future generations. And there's a lot on the ballot this November 5th, but it's really, what kind of country do we want? Do we want America to still be that shining city on the hill? And, and I think most Americans do. And, I think President Trump showed that strength today that people want, but it's alarming to think we came this close to not having him with us. Thank God that he's okay.
Yeah, I wonder, sir, if you think that this will calm things down. I mean, I know you talk about the efforts to calm things down. I wonder if you believe that it will, or does this does it evoke more anger among the different parties, among the Republicans being targeted, et cetera? What do you think this leads to? Do you believe there is a calm after the storm or the beginning of the storm?
I hope it is going to lead to a calm. I mean, look, for months we've been hearing, that he's a threat to democracy. If he gets elected, we've got to stop him from getting elected, as if there's some evil that would go with it. He was president for 4 years, and we had a great economy. We had a secure border. We had peace in the world. So all of that stuff is not true, but that hyper rhetoric has been thrown out there for months. And all it takes is one person who's unstable to act on it, and maybe that's what happened today. But it's still got to stop going forward. We got to lower the rhetoric.
Leader Scalise, thank you.
Good to have you
God
with
bless
us,
you.
sir.
Yep.
You as well. Thank you very much.